Welcome to the closing ceremony of the Globeducate MUN 2023. 190 students from 26 participating Globeducate schools have had the amazing opportunity of meeting, debating, lobbying, voting, and dancing over the last 4 days of this 2023 Globeducate MUN conference. The head chairs and co-chairs have been debriefing debates and delegates amongst themselves. They are eager to share with you the conclusions of their respective committees. I would like to present to you our head chairs and co-chairs that will be presenting the awards and their committees.
Good afternoon, everyone. So as chairs of the Security Council, you must say that it comes up as the second smallest committee in this conference, and therefore requires extremely motivated delegates in order to have a fruitful, productive, and constantly evolving and progressing debate. The first topic that was discussed in the Security Council was the reinforcement of cybersecurity measures and the capacity of member states in preventing cyber attacks. Here, delegates successfully clarified and established the exact measures that were to take place. The second topic that was discussed was the issue of guaranteeing political and economic stability in the South China Sea. The highly controversial and tense nature of this issue was a source of longer, moderated and unmoderated debates, and provided a wide range of perspectives that were defended, either successfully or not, and which resulted in two complementing resolutions being passed. Now if we can go into the awards for the delegates. So we decided to award the best delegate to Logan Daniels, the delegate of Mozambique from Toronto Prep School. This delegate was consistently strong and confident in their ability to negotiate and debate on every resolution. They were able to develop relations and come to favorable agreements with several delegates and defend their position with a professional and diplomatic approach, while also remembering to keep their approach and representation of their country accurate. Therefore, based on this, as heads of the Security Council, we believe that the delegate of Mozambique truly deserves to win this award.
Now on to the most outstanding award. Along the 4 days, this delegate demonstrated a great progression in confidence, collaboration, and argumentation. Not only did this delegate consistently come up with arguments, but also delivered them with passion and motivation. Moreover, the delegates stood out with their dedication to make amendments to make sure they achieved the most favorable outcome for their country that they represented. So, with their preparation and enthusiasm, we are happy to present the Outstanding Award to the Delegate of China, Pablo Sobriviela.
Could Logan Daniels please come up to get his award? Is that happening later? No. Congratulations. Unfortunately, the second award winner is not here, but I'd like to have a round of applause for him as well, as he did a great job in our committee.
Distinguished guests, delegates, chairs, admins, and coordinators, I am honored to stand in front of you today to represent the Human Rights Committee. All delegates have shown great interest in debate, and all of us chairs are proud of their hard work and determination. However, one delegate has shown great improvement throughout the whole conference. They impressed all of us chairs in their ability to debate and make clear arguments. Their participation was outstanding, especially in their way to defend resolutions and amendments. We are excited to announce that the award of Outstanding Delegate of the Human Rights Committee goes to the Delegate of Colombia, Oriol Volta Martinez.
as a chair to stand here today and present the award for the best delegate at this year's Human Rights Conference. Through active participation, thoughtful contribution, and dedication to the cause, this delegate has demonstrated an outstanding commitment to the promotion and protection of human rights. He proposed several amendments as well as 2 resolutions that were approved. Their speeches and intervention were insightful and thoughtful. They have taken an active role in all discussion, contributing valuable insight and perspective. It is with great pleasure that I announce the best delegates of the Human Rights Conference, the delegation of Canada, Nicholas Navarro-Lac.
We would also like to address a special mention to some of the delegates. Please join us in a round of applause for the delegates of Argentina, Vietnam, and Doctors Without Borders.
I'm honored to speak on behalf of my fellow DISEC chairs to thank a few delegates who participated in fruitful debates, strong resolutions about AI and weapons of mass destruction. First, we would like to call Emily Huang, representing the Republic of Cuba in DISEC, whose insightful comments, active speeches, and collaborations were really appreciated by the chairs. Although she had trouble with personal pronouns in the beginning, she was still a wonderful delegate. She was winning the best delegate at DISEC. We'd also like to call forward the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, whose active debate was appreciated. Although he represented a controversial country and in the beginning had difficulty representing it, his confidence only improved throughout the conference. He won DISEC Outstanding Delegate.
Esteemed guests, coordinators, fellow chairs, distinguished delegates. It is with great pleasure and honour that I stand before you today on behalf of the EcoSub chairs. As we come to a close for this conference, I'm pleased to announce that every one of our 50 delegates has demonstrated their eloquence and commitment to the cause, having spoken at least once during the conference, whether it be a point of information, a speech, or an amendment. The passion and dedication demonstrated by the delegates throughout the conference have been truly inspiring, with passionate debates and memorable speeches that will not be easily forgotten. It is worth noting that we had more than 10 candidates for best and outstanding delegates, each of whom made significant contributions to the debates in their unique way, and without whom this conference would not be the same. Said candidates have been included in the honourable mentions that I will now be listing. Please join me in a round of applause for Republic of Korea, USA, from Mougins British School, China, from the Madame Maty Diouf International School, Brazil, Iraq, and India from the Indian Public School, and the Russian Federation from it is my pleasure to announce that the title of Best Delegate goes to the Delegate of Iran, while the Outstanding Delegate Award goes to the Delegate of UAE. Let's take with us the knowledge and experience gained and continue to strive towards making this world a better place. Thank you all for being part of this incredible journey, and I look forward to seeing you all in the future. Thank you.
I would now like to introduce Mrs. Maty Diouf, Deputy Mayor of Nice in charge of the fight against discrimination, women's rights. Sorry. G7 folks, please. Thank you.
As the chair of the G7 committee, I am pleased to report that we have had a very productive session. Delegates from schools represented their assigned countries with great enthusiasm and participated in intense discussions on various topics such as corruption, disinformation, and migration. The lobbying and debating sessions were lively and dynamic, and the delegates demonstrated their research skills and in-depth understanding of the issues at hand. Throughout the committee session, the delegates presented and debated various resolutions to address the challenges faced by the G7 countries. After long hours of deliberation, the committee successfully passed several resolutions aimed at promoting global security, strengthening bilateral ties, and mitigating the effects of state-backed disinformation campaigns. As a chair, it was gratifying to witness the delegates' growth in terms of diplomatic skills, research abilities, and collaborative problem solving. The delegates displayed maturity and professionalism throughout the session, and I commend them for their hard work and dedication. Accordingly, a particular delegate has caught our eye, showcasing a vast amount of diplomatic and organizational skills that were brought to the G7 committees, yet proceeded to add new skills that were developed during the debate. They showed extreme tenacity, resilience, and spirit. Therefore, we would like to give the Best Delegate Award to the Delegate of Canada from the Stonewall School.
Sadly, the delegate is not with us today as they had to leave early, so they will not be here to collect their award. However, with that being said, we are now going to be giving out our outstanding delegate who displayed great enthusiasm and constant participation. And for this being their first MUN, they have impressed us with how much they have progressed with their diplomatic skills throughout the conference. With that being said, we would like to congratulate the delegate of the Republic of India from the Indian Public School. For the We would also like to give honorable mentions to the delegate of China and Germany for their outstanding participation as well.
Now I would actually like to introduce Mrs. Maty Diouf, Deputy Mayor of Nice in charge of the fight against discrimination, women's rights, international solidarity, and humanitarian action. Nous voudrions maintenant donner la parole à Madame Diouf, adjointe au maire de Nice, déléguée à la lutte contre la discrimination, aux droits de la femme, à la solidarité internationale et aux actions humanitaires.
Thank you so much. Alors, je ne vais pas parler en anglais, puisque je ne parle pas tellement bien anglais. Mais je voulais simplement vous dire quel est mon plaisir. Je goûte mon plaisir d'être ici, encore une fois, devant vous, devant ce parterre de jeunes qui seront, et nul doute, qui seront les élites de demain. En tout cas, merci encore pour m'avoir invité. Merci. Alors, mardi dernier, hello everyone, donc je crois que tout le monde est très sagement. Mardi dernier, j'ai eu l'immense plaisir dans le cadre, Madame la Directrice Générale, tout en saluant aussi James et Madame Curtis que j'ai rencontré la semaine dernière. Mardi dernier, j'ai eu l'immense plaisir dans le cadre du Séminaire ONU mondial de vous accueillir au sein du CUM, écrin de la pensée, des valeurs universelles de paix, de liberté, de fraternité et de laïcité. Ça, c'est simple. Je suis un peu impressionnée, hein, je dois dire, hein, parce qu'ils sont là, ils écoutent attentivement, donc je suis vraiment impressionnée. Je ne sais pas comment on le dit en anglais, j'aimerais bien que vous puissiez le traduire.
Maty Diouf is very impressed because they speak French, but I know most of you probably have learned French.
Ah, il faudra m'applaudir un peu parce que là, c'est... Déjà, je suis vraiment ravie encore une fois d'être ici. Enseignants, élèves et étudiants, vous bénéficiez de cette expérience d'apprentissage interactif. En effet, elle ne fait pas seulement intervenir l'étude et la discussion de problèmes mondiaux parmi les jeunes, mais elle encourage également l'acquisition de compétences utiles tout au long de leur vie, comme la recherche, la rédaction, la prise de parole en public, la résolution de problèmes, la création de consensus, la résolution des conflits, ainsi que le compromis et la coopération. Cela a été le fil conducteur de vos journées, ici à Nice, qui se sont déroulées dans la bonne humeur et la bonne camaraderie, comme on l'a déjà dit. Aujourd'hui marque la fin de vos travaux. Dans le cadre de vos débats de coopération et de compréhension entre les peuples interculturels, qui se sont déroulés durant 4 jours, je voulais vous dire ici que je suis si reconnaissante, au nom de la ville de Nice et de notre maire Christian Estrosi, d'avoir, mes chers étudiants, pu entremêler vos esprits à ceux d'immenses femmes et hommes qui vous avaient déjà précédés. Il était crucial pour notre ville d'accueillir un tel événement, Madame la Directrice Générale, et je tiens à remercier l'ISN d'avoir voulu nous inviter. Merci beaucoup. Vos échanges constitueront plus tard un flambeau qui pourra diffuser le savoir, la connaissance, la tolérance dans le monde, et ce à travers l'inspiration que vous avez pu trouver dans le souffle des valeurs portées par l'ONU et celles de vos établissements d'études respectifs, que je veux ici remercier encore une fois. Votre futur, jeunes étudiants, se prépare aujourd'hui. Tout à l'heure, votre directrice, elle disait que vous êtes la relève de demain, et c'est exact. Votre futur donc se prépare aujourd'hui. Vous aurez à le modeler afin qu'il puisse servir les intérêts humains que j'évoquais précédemment. Vous êtes déjà, mesdames, messieurs, mesdemoiselles, les bâtisseurs de demain. Et durant vos travaux, vous avez pu vous inspirer de ce dicton africain qui dit, et que j'affectionne particulièrement, « Seul on va plus vite, seul on va vite, ensemble on va plus loin ». Je veux vous dire combien j'ai été touchée de voir à travers votre jeunesse, votre mobilisation sur des enjeux d'inclusion, de lutte contre les discriminations et d'amélioration future. J'espère que vous avez pu profiter quand même de nos paysages, de notre beau climat et de la richesse de notre patrimoine, et que ce cadre a pu vous offrir aussi les meilleures conditions pour ce voyage éducatif. En espérant, jeunes étudiants, que vous repartirez le cœur et la tête remplis d'espoir sur la possibilité d'échanger et la responsabilité d'échanger entre peuples, ainsi que sur le pouvoir de nos procédés démocratiques. En effet, l'ONU représente le symbole du consensus international pour un monde de paix, d'échange entre tous les peuples et surtout d'humanisme. Et c'est ce que vous incarnez ici aujourd'hui. Vous vous êtes montrés dignes de cet exercice ardu et je vous en félicite chacun et chacune. Votre participation est forte en symbolique, symbole de vos pouvoirs d'action, de vos rôles, en tant qu'acteurs de demain, en tant qu'acteurs de changement, pour construire tout simplement un meilleur monde de demain. Ce sont les mêmes objectifs qui me poussent, moi, tous les jours, à conduire aussi mes missions. Et vous êtes aussi une source d'inspiration pour moi. Bravo et félicitations à vous tous. Merci beaucoup.
Mrs. Diouf's speech
will now be read in its English translation by Elisa Philippe and Maria Veronina. Elsa Philippe.
Dear school principals, teachers, and students, hello everyone. Last Tuesday, I had the great pleasure, within the framework of the MUN conference, to welcome you in the Centre Universitaire Méditerranéen, a place that represents the universal values of peace, freedom, fraternity, and laicity. Teachers and students have benefited from this interactive learning experience. Indeed, it not only involves study and discussion of global issues among young people, but also encourages the development of lifelong skills such as research, writing, public speaking, problem solving, consensus building, conflict resolution, compromise, and cooperation. This has been the common thread of your days here in Nice, which have been spent in good humor and camaraderie. Today marks the end of your work. Within the framework of your debates, your cooperation and your intercultural understandings, which have taken place over the last 4 days, I would like to express my gratitude on behalf of the city of Nice and our mayor, Christian Esposito, for having been able, dear students, to interweave your minds and those of the immense men and women who have preceded you. It was crucial for our city to host this event, and I would like to thank the ISN for having invited us. Every humanistic act and work that promotes peace, human rights, and well-being in the world is dear to our city, which is so open to Europe, the Mediterranean, and the world. Your exchanges will later become a torch that can spread knowledge, understanding, and tolerance throughout the world. Thanks to the inspiration you have found in the values represented by the United Nations and those of your respective institutions of study that I would also like to thank.
In a rapidly changing world, problems are increasingly intertwined, as are the solutions. Relationships between states and other stakeholders are changing, and technology is changing the expectations of every one of us in our private and professional lives. This is the reality that calls for innovative and sustainable responses, based on multi-stakeholder partnerships and inspired by our shared values of equity, solidarity, and justice. Your future is being prepared today, and you will have to shape it so that it can serve the human interests that I mentioned earlier. You're already the builders of tomorrow, and during your work, you have been inspired by this African saying, which says, "Alone, we go fast. Together, we go further." It filled me with pleasure to see how mobilized you are in the fight for inclusion and against discrimination. I hope that you were able to enjoy our landscapes, our climate, and the richness of our heritage, and that this setting was able to offer you the best conditions for this educational trip. I hope that you will leave with your hearts and minds filled with hope for the possibility of exchanges between peoples, as well as the power of our democratic processes. The United Nations represents the symbol of international consensus for world peace, exchange between all peoples and humanism. You have shown yourselves worthy of this arduous exercise. Your participation is highly symbolic of your powers of action, and your roles as actors of change to build a better world tomorrow. There are the same objectives that drive me every day to conduct my missions. Bravo, and congratulations to all of you. Thank you to all of you. I wish you a safe return.
I would now like to introduce you to UNDP Resident Representative in Georgia, Nick Beresford. Nick Beresford is a developmental professional with over 20 years of experience with the United Nations. In September of 2021, he was appointed as UNDP Resident Representative in Georgia. Before, he served in Cambodia, Bangladesh, Somalia, and East Timor, as well as in the UN headquarters in New York, USA.
Secretary General, chairs, delegates, administrators and coordinators, thank you very much for inviting me to your closing ceremony. I'm sorry I can't be there in person, but I'm very glad to join you from here in Tbilisi, Georgia. I gather one of the subjects that you've been discussing has been sustainable global development, and I wanted to talk about the global bit, about our planet. And the reason I wanted to talk about that was a report that we've had this week, and that's the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. And that is this annual report that comes from the UN, and it's from the world scientists about the effects of climate change. And it provides a stark warning. This is one of our last chances that we have in order to keep climate change to below 1.5 degrees Celsius. We need rapid and sustained action. But there is good news, and this report says that we have all the technology, we have the know-how, we know what to do, it's just that we need the political will to do it. As the Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said, we need everything, everywhere, all at once. So what can you do, or what can we do? And I think maybe we can think about that question maybe in three different ways. I mean, first of all, we can think about it as individuals. We can change the way that we live, we can make the more sustainable lifestyle. We can drive an electric car. At home, we can maybe use solar power. We can think of it the second way in institutional terms. What can a school do like ISN? What could a college do? What could a private company do? There are lots of ways that we can become more clean and green. And there's lots of ways that we can reduce our carbon footprint. But it's the third area that I think is the most important, and it's what governments can do. Governments are key. This is a point that the report makes absolutely clear. Global climate change is won or lost by the world's governments. But governments are influenced by people, not always directly, not always successfully, but people do have a way of providing incentive structures for governments to respond to. For example, you can vote when you have the opportunity, or if you have the opportunity, use it to vote and pick candidates or pick parties that are backing strong climate change action. There are other ways that you can influence governments as well. You can be a campaigner, you can be an activist, you can join campaigns in order to push for climate change action. Finally, the other thing I wanted to say was, what else can we be doing? Well, you may well be thinking about a career within the United Nations, maybe a career with another development or multilateral organizations. There's a lot I can say about that subject, but in the minute or so that's left for me, maybe the most important thing, I think, in that respect, is finding something that you're passionate about, something that you believe. The UN is a very complex organization working across the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So there's lots of different aspects that you could decide to focus on. For example, your passion might be environmental sciences, or maybe you want to be a human rights lawyer, defending people around the world. Maybe you want to be a project manager going from country to country, implementing important programs for the UN and for other partners. We need new entrants and we need new joiners to organizations like the UN. We need people who are well educated, people that are inspired, people who are passionate about what they do. So I hope that might be of interest to some of you who are here today. Finally, let me say thank you very much to the Secretary General and to the delegates for inviting me to join you. I wish you every success, and I'll end my remarks there. Many thanks.
We have the honor of introducing Madame Line Vissot-Weil, President of Globeducate France.
Thank you. Dear Madame l'Adjointe, representatives from the city of Nice, representatives from EDIS, representatives from the Corps Consulaire, school directors, MUN directors, teachers, delegates, and chairs. It is a great honor to be with you today to celebrate the end of the VIII Globeducate MUN United Nations. I have been following your activity throughout the week, and my colleagues in the room have shared with me how impressed they are with not only the incredibly high standards of diplomacy, negotiation, and conflict resolution on display, but also with the seriousness with which you embrace your roles as chairs and delegates, and the enthusiasm you showed for connecting with your Globeducate peers from across the world. I would like to thank the City of Nice and Mrs. Maty Diouf, Deputy Mayor, and her team for supporting our event and for being a role model to our students of diplomacy in action at a regional level. I know she will have inspired many of you in this room to think of a future career in politics as a change maker. And now a few words of French for Mrs. Diouf. Chère Madame, c'est avec une profonde gratitude que je tiens à vous remercier chaleureusement, ainsi que la ville de Nice, pour nous avoir permis de tenir cet événement extrêmement important pour nos élèves. Vous êtes pour un exemple de diplomatie et de leadership au niveau régional. En tant que témoin de votre engagement et de votre dévouement à la cause de l'égalité et de la justice, je sais que vous aurez inspiré beaucoup d'entre nous dans cette salle à envisager une carrière politique afin d'avoir un impact sur la société de demain. The organization of this event was not a small feat, as I understand from the directors, and I would like to extend my thanks and my congratulations to the coordination and logistic teams of ISN and Mougins British International School. There were many people behind the scenes too, including student helpers, and thank you all for your contribution to ensuring the event runs smoothly. Please, a big round of applause for all those who have organized the MUN for you, please. Thank you. I would like also to thank the Chamber of Commerce of Nice, which is hosting this closing ceremony in this beautiful Campus des Métiers. Thank you, Vincent Demas. I could talk about so many aspects of Model United Nations with you today. How much you learned about diplomacy and politics. How you will have grown in self-confidence and self-esteem. How universities and companies appreciate seeing MUN on your applications. And how events such as these are wonderful networking opportunities for the future. And I am sure you could describe in far better words than I your experiences over the last 4 days and how you may be changed now as you stand here on the last day compared to the past version of yourself on Tuesday morning. I wish to focus instead on your future, both near and far. As you journey back home, reflect on how you will apply what you have experienced here in Nice when you are back in your school and your country with your friends and your family. Take a moment to think of a typical scenario at school or at home where your diplomacy skills will be put to the test. It could be with a sibling, parents, friends, or even a teacher. How will you demonstrate that you have truly listened to their grievance? How will you show empathy for their situation? How will you extend a branch of friendship towards them? Yet also, how will you defend your beliefs? How will you stand up for yourself and others in a diplomatic way? And how will you know when it's time to stand down? And finally, how will you accept that sometimes other people, with their differences, can also be right? These are the questions that we all face as we move into adulthood, and I'm afraid there are no easy answers. I can tell you that the more you seek to connect with other people, the more you invest in educating yourself about current global concerns, and the more you engage with causes that you believe in, such as racial justice, women's rights, climate change, disarmament, and there are so many more, the more you will know yourself and the surer you will be of your future growth. And the more you will see that there are people fighting tirelessly for the good of humanity, and that you can be one of them. Globeducate students, you are the new generation that will shape the world. Congratulations and look forward to a bright future. Thank you.
We would now like to give the floor to students from Mougins British International School in this order: Raphael Lalonde, Lola Schwartz, Aline Asfor, and Oliver Sauvage.
Bonjour mesdames et messieurs. Merci maîtresse de la cérémonie Evelyne Cooper. Je me souviens des premières discussions de la conférence de cette année. À ce moment-là, ce n'était qu'une pensée lointaine. Et puis, c'est devenu le lendemain. grâce au travail incroyable des organisateurs, des professeurs et des chefs de comité. L'angoisse du manque de préparation ou les doutes sur mes performances ont disparu d'un coup dès que j'ai réalisé jusqu'à quel point les participants étaient gentils et accueillants. De ceux qui sont nouveaux à la conférence à ceux qui en ont fait plusieurs. De ceux qui voulaient apprendre à ceux qui voulaient mener le chemin. Nos fascinations pour les relations internationales, pour l'histoire, pour l'économie et pour les politiques ont toutes pu être démontrées dans un contexte amical et respectueux. Nous avons eu des échanges informatifs, persuasifs et motivants en vue d'améliorer le monde entier. Pour ceux parmi nous qui viennent d'ailleurs, ceci fut une chance merveilleuse de découvrir notre magnifique Côte d'Azur. Et pour ceux qui y vivent, c'était un rappel de la chance que nous avons. Avec les brises-glaces, les débats, les crises et le discours d'hier, nous avons tous eu la chance de rencontrer des gens venant de tout bout du monde, tous avec un intérêt partagé en ces Nations Unies simulées, et une ouverture d'esprit et un esprit de communauté. En apprenant les règles et les règlements qui gouvernent les Nations Unies, en recherchant les sujets qui n'étaient pas simples, moi et sûrement, selon moi, plusieurs autres parmi nous avons appris sur notre monde moderne et son état actuel, mais aussi, tout simplement, nous nous sommes amusés. Certains parmi nous nous ont démontré leur confiance et talent pour l'oration, tandis que d'autres se sont développés une carapace de timidité. J'ai eu une expérience absolument phénoménale que j'ai hâte de répéter l'année prochaine. J'espère et je crois que vous partagez tous ce sentiment. Merci beaucoup.
Delegates, fellow chairs, administrators, over the past week, hundreds of students from all around the world have been able to participate in in-depth discussions and debates about global hot topic issues. On behalf of Mougins School and the whole Globeducate community, I would like to give a special thank you to Mrs. Diouf, Deputy Mayor of Nice, Ms. Vissot-Weil, Globeducate CEO France, and Mr. Beresford, the UNDP in Georgia. Over the past 4 days, I've had the opportunity to be the chair of the Human Rights Council. This was my second overall conference, but my first time attending an in-person conference, and my first time being a chair. It has been quite the experience. I've observed many heated debates, and of course many humorous moments. I've met some extremely intelligent and kind individuals, and I've learned a lot. Not only Mod UN rules and regulations, but lessons in diplomacy and organization, especially time management. All of this was able to happen due to the hard work and care of many individuals, so a big thank you to everyone. And I think I speak for all of Mougins School when I say we look forward to participating next year. Thank you.
Chers délégués, chairs, administrateurs, et tous ceux qui ont rendu cet événement possible. Je voudrais commencer par remercier chacun d'entre vous. Sans toutes les personnes dans cette salle aujourd'hui, nous n'aurions pas eu un MUN aussi merveilleux et palpitant que nous avons eu la chance de vivre cette semaine. Nous tous dans cette salle avons eu l'incroyable opportunité de faire partie d'une expérience aussi prestigieuse, amusante, enrichissante et sans aucun doute plein de rebondissements. J'espère pouvoir parler au nom de tout le monde en disant que cette semaine a été un très grand succès et que nous avons tous rencontré des gens merveilleux avec qui nous gardions le contact toute notre vie. Comme plusieurs d'entre vous, ce MUN était mon premier. En entrant dans cette salle et en voyant toutes les mêmes expressions confuses que j'avais sûrement aussi collées sur mon visage, savoir que je n'étais pas la seule qui ne savait pas quoi faire ou où aller était plus que rassurant. Mais dès le premier jour, j'ai su rapidement m'adapter grâce à l'aide incroyable de chaque personne présente. Vous m'avez ouvert des portes à un univers dont je n'étais pas au courant. Et je suis ressortie avec la tête pleine de nouvelles idées. Je sors aujourd'hui de cette conférence avec plus de savoir. Je tiens encore à remercier toutes les personnes qui ont rendu ce MUN possible. J'ai pu rencontrer des personnes qui sont de toute nationalité. Cela m'a permis de diversifier mon savoir culturel. J'ai créé des amitiés qui vont sûrement durer toute ma vie. Les personnes qui font un MUN vont tous dans la même direction.
Nous avons tous des intérêts intellectuels et nous voulons tous sortir avec plus de savoir que nous avons eu en entrant dans les conférences. Si nous regardons autour de nous aujourd'hui, nous pouvons voir des gens qui auront sûrement beaucoup de succès à l'avenir. Peut-être que certains d'entre nous utiliseront les compétences de la conférence pour envisager des avenirs dans les études de droit. Peut-être que certains d'entre nous seront des politiciens ou même des futurs dirigeants. Pour terminer, je voudrais spécialement remercier les deux professeurs qui ont travaillé très dur pour que cela se produise, Madame Lecroix et Madame Laure. Je souhaite aussi remercier tous les organisateurs. Merci de nous avoir offert cette opportunité.
Dear delegates, runners, admins, councils, reporters, and chairs, I would like to say that in my 4 to 5 days of these debates, speeches, arguments, and the friends I've made along the way were truly all incredible. This was my first MUN in which I debated on topics such as guaranteeing political and economic stability in the South China Sea and the reinforcement of cybersecurity measures to prevent cyber attacks. But what truly made it special was the people and connections I've made during this week. It truly felt as if I've done this plenty of times, as if I was no longer new, but instead represented as an experienced delegate. This MUN has shown me how to get invested and express my point of view and make friends along the way. Not only that, but the atmosphere of it was thrilling and just so entertaining to the point where I would definitely like to continue sharing opinions with others in the future. I really enjoyed my MUN experience and definitely recommend it for others to try it out. Thank you for your time, and I yield the floor to the Master of Ceremonies.
I will leave you now with the 9th MUN Globeducate Secretary General, Sophie Vasilison.
As we come to the end of this Model United Nations Conference, I'd like to take a moment to express my gratitude to all of you for your hard work, dedication, and a commitment to diplomacy and cooperation. Over the past few days, we have had some incredible displays of teamwork, negotiation, and critical thinking. Each of you has brought a unique perspective to the table, and it's through these collective efforts that we have been able to address some of the most pressing global issues of our time. Overall, I would like to thank Madame Maty Diouf and her staff, Mr. Beresford, Madame Vissot-Weil, Globeducate directors, Globeducate school heads, Globeducate school MUN coordinators and directors, Mr. Galvez, Madame Lecoy, Madame Laure, our MUN coordinators, ISEN and Mougins, senior leadership teams, teachers, invigilators, events team, admin team, tech team, and more. ISEN and Mougins marketing, Mr. Van Buren, Ms. Wallace, Ms. Cudon, and IT team. Chairs, co-chairs, especially those who are graduating this year, delegates, press team, ISEN and Mougins school host families. Without all of you, none of this would have been able to happen. With that being said, I declare the Globeducate 2023 MUN session as officially closed.